Tomorrow's the animation class. I'm slightly ashamed to say that in the span of me kind of getting wrapped up with trying to get over some other artistic humps I've been trying to get over, I neglected actually doing the animation homework. Fortunately, both of the lessons that we have are ones that are designed to be done very quickly. Like the boy with the hammer one, I've got to actually go back and I think it's feeling pretty good, but I've just got to go back and fix the volumes. There's like one frame I got to take out, but it's on stream right now if you want to see it. Here, how do I loop this? Well, changing the time, I actually get rid of those frames. That's the question. Okay, so there, and then the other end of it goes here. How can I adjust the frame rate? This is gonna go blasting by. Like, I mean, it does look like he's hitting it. I'm gonna go back through and like see if there's stuff I can push, and then like get it, and then like time down to his volumes. Basically, he is growing quite a bit here.
He's drinking his milk and eating some spinach.
I know, but we don't want him to grow and change his volumes in the actual animation. I think if there's one frame I can get rid of, let's see. I can get rid of that one. Put that one over here. Should actually like, let's maybe time this out. That's right. I time this out so like let's see, about 12. It's over here. I'm just doing this little bit of thing before we get started. Kind of waiting for people to come into class while the stream's on my Twitch. Get some royalty-free music going. Shit, why am I getting drop? I'm getting like drop frames and stuff right now. Okay, 8 viewers, cool. I'll start the class when we get to like around somewhere over 10, somewhere in the teens. So.
I mean, on Twitch, you're at 17 right now.
Oh. This is feeling pretty good. So. There's some adjustments I can make, especially to the end frame bit with the buttocks coming up. But if I get like the volumes on, I think this is working as a test for like the first attempt at this. The good thing is about this test is designed to only be done in like 2 hours. So I've spent like less than an hour on it already. So I got another like hour and 45 minutes I can spend tying this down. So what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be doing the homework that we assigned last week. That was the additional homework, aside from this, like last week for the animation class. I think that would be a really good idea. Fridays, I'm actually going to lean towards doing a mix of figure drawing, but also like action figure stuff, that's related to the stuff that we're doing for our homework the next day. So if you aren't able to get to do the homework on my Saturday animation class, Friday will be the cheat day. Oh shit! I didn't do the Saturday animation homework class, homework stuff. Well, good news. You'll be able to come in for Friday. Also, one of the things I'm going to be ordering soon is I'm going to get. So listen to my voice on the stream right now, or listen to my voice on the stream right now. You hear how much better that sounds? That's when the microphone's right in front of my lips. I am going to get a mic stand for my desk, so I can put the Blue Snowball microphone that I currently own in front of my face, and I'm also going to do some audio filtering stuff to improve the audio quality on stream. But how does this sound to you? How I'm talking right now, with me talking right in front of the microphone? Like, people told me it sounds like closer to podcast quality right now.
You're like peaking on the low frequency right now, but
Yeah.
not terrible. I think that's just the Yeti Snowball, and I know that those things are not the best. So you're probably better off stepping up to something like an AT-AT.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's from Shure, or something like the Yeti.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't have a pop filter too, that might be why.
Yeah, pop filter would. I should definitely have a pop filter on this as well. That was going to be the plan. I would get a mic stand with a pop filter. Yeah, Cyberpunk. After the stream, I'll be playing some Cyberpunk, but we will make sure we get the homework done tonight.
Just be careful with the Cyberpunk because of really bad glitches that are happening and causing very, very bad things for streamers right now.
I'm fine. I fell through the world once, but that was about it.
Well, like, apparently the clothes are clipping, so be careful.
That's not an issue. That's funny. I had one scene that I sadly didn't record because it recorded it recorded something else. The scene, there's a really gripping scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's something important that one character gives you in first person, and the model accidentally swapped to a gun, so it looked like they were pulling a gun out from their face and handing it to me. Like a sideways gun clipped through their palm. Basically, it was the silliest thing.
If there was ever a validation for day one patch, this is it.
I did a little coffee spill. I'm gonna have to get some. Yeah, I put it in a like anti-spill container, and this is the first time I've had a coffee spill on this desk. So it's not as anti-spill as I thought. I actually think I want to get like a spill-proof coffee thermos, like a totally spill-proof one.
The marketing company lied to me.
It's not spill-proof, but it's. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna hit the restroom. Hit the restroom before this plays. I'll leave that playing, and I'll be right back in a bit, and we'll get started on some warm-ups. I am Spacedad, yes. My name. But why is Spacedad? What are shoes feet? Anyway, I'm gonna save that. I'm sure I said that as a backup, you know. Save. So let's see here. Alrighty, so first off, I have a question. In Twitch chat or in voice chat, because I'm not looking at Discord Classroom chat at the moment. Do any of you have Clip Studio for Clip Studio?
Yes.
Are you familiar with animating in Clip Studio?
No, but I sense I could probably figure it out.
Yeah, there's we'll go through that real quick. Let's actually do that right now. Because we're going to be using an animation software tonight, and if you have Clip Studio, this is a good time for a real quick bit of knowledge on how to use the damn thing for animating. Just give me a second. What is up with Windows lately? Alright, okay, Google, turn on TV.
Sure, turning on Office Roku.
So, let me see. I'm going to dig out what we're going to be using this evening here. First off, these are the two characters that I'm going to be using for some of my animation tests right here. You can see you can see Spacedad's full body in the background there. I've done some other drawings of them and kind of breaking down their character models. Using my personal OC and mascot characters basically for some animation tests. It would be fun. So these are the characters and the body proportions I'm going to be using when I'm doing the animation I'm going to be doing. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to grab the live action stuff. Let's see here. So first off, we're going to be yoinking stuff mainly from this dude right here, who co-teaches animation with me on Saturdays for a Saturday 2:30 class tomorrow. And what we're going to be doing is he has some this Twitter account right here. So this is like an example of something he did. I'm going to bring this down on the main screen actually. But yeah, Maxi Anims right here. You could give him a follow on Twitter. While you're at it, give me a follow to Super Spacedad. My Twitter link should be down below my Twitch page. But oh, I forgot to announce in chat that here, let me give real quick. I'm going to do a quick announcement for the Twitch stream that we're going to be doing right now. I have to do that in Discord. Go. Posted in Discord. Alright, so Maxi Anims, give him a follow. There. But the account that we're going to be paying close attention to is PGA1225. This one is I'm going to see if I can follow. Yeah, good. I can find and follow. I need more people to follow me on Twitter so I can follow more people. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to grab some of the stunt footage from one of these things to use as a fodder this evening. You can either follow along with me, or You can grab something from here yourself. Just grab a shot you think you can use. If you're not used to doing this sort of thing, I would suggest like something like something that's pretty simple. Well, no, this is not well, relatively simple. Like this simple kick, like right here, like one pose, second pose, third pose, fourth pose. I want to say. Then like fifth pose when she comes down. Yeah. If there's you can do like 5 or 6 poses out of that. Not counting the dude on the left. For example. You want to, in order to yoink this, you want to use like a Twitter downloader. Let's see here. There's a few Twitter downloader things. I think this one works right here, but whatever suitable Twitter downloader you can use to download the footage. I'll actually upload the footage that I get for use. Yeah. You got plenty of shots. This is a little bit more complicated one that uses perspective and stuff. I'm gonna see if I can find one that would be like something that I could see in action. I could see Spacedad or Astropod. We'll go down through these a bit. Perspective run there. Nice kick. So she got some sword fighting stuff in here somewhere too. Yeah, find a good clip that you want to use. Just of any action here. We're gonna start breaking this stuff down. Well, I'm gonna scroll down here and see until I find one that that's like. Hang on a second. Yeah, there's a lot of fight choreography folks that post up to Twitter, and there's a few cool accounts I've seen for that sort of thing. But we're going to be mainly using this one to start. So let's see here. She got any more down here? Yeah, here's a good one with the sword. Simple sword combo straight on. This is the one that Maxi. This is the one that Maxi did that they retweeted. He kind of like riffed on what she did and added some characters in. So you know what? Let's take this, because I'm gonna take this. So I'm gonna animate Astropug doing this move and cutting down some bad guys or something. So I'll take this and I'll download it. Try to get everything here. Got it. Now, I want to see if I can put it in an app that would work really good for streaming. I think VLC Media Player might work well for that, but we'll see. I kind of do frame by frame here. Just scrubbing the timeline. So, alright. So now that we got this, anyway, take your pick of the Twitter DJ thing to use as your reference. I'm going to have mine on screen so you guys can follow along and try to draw as you like. Here, I'll put it in. But first, before we get started, I'm going to show you how to set up Clip Studio for animating. So, first off, I'm trying a new layout right now where I have like my brush stuff on the left here and brush settings and other things. But anyway, so the Clip Studio it's a little bit tricky. So if you got Clip Studio open right now, do File, New, and go to the animation template. You're gonna want to pick like 1080p for this, or smaller if you have like a smaller if you have like a weaker computer. Make sure that your frame rate is set to 24. And let's see what else. You can name file too. So, but anyway, when you create, so anyway, if everything's looking good here, just create the file. So what's happening here is like this stuff outside that frame in the middle here is not going to be rendered when this thing outputs. And you output this as a video file or a GIF or something. So you can draw on the margins here or have stuff go outside the frame, and it's not going to be a problem. You can also extend that space if you like, if you need to. That would be especially useful for like moving background cameras and stuff. So, anyway, so you want to animate Clip Studio. Well, so here's, so first off, generally when you're animating, you know you want to import some reference, but, so let's see here, I've got some reference of my OC Spacedad, where there's a cyberpunk character here. Whoops. Fucking hell. Windows. I gotta remove that Windows gesture because that thing is really annoying while streaming and jumping Windows from side to side. So here we are streaming live right now. So let's go to Media tabs. Let's scroll down to. There we go. I got this basic reference pose again, then I'm just going to use the start point. So I'm going to copy that image right here, and I can normally like copy paste stuff into the file. So there, I pasted it. See it appearing down here? Oh, not appearing on here. What's going on here? Well, in order to have stuff actually appear as on the timeline here in Clip Studio, you've got to actually have it in you've got to have it on an individual layer in an animation folder. Like only this layer right here is going to be visible. So that means anytime you're gonna make like a rough animation layer, a cleanup animation layer, you got to make a different animation folder. And so the way you do that is this tab right here, new animation folder. I'm actually going to maybe set up a hotkey for that. But so when you create one of those, it immediately creates like an empty folder basically. Okay. I'm gonna move that in here, and let's see here. I think to make this visible, you right click on there and then folder insert there. Good enough. Human animation later. Yeah. So I'm not clear how to do the copy paste thing, admittedly, but one thing I do know is that when you take this out of the animation folder, there, bam, that's my reference now. So I'm still kind of learning this stuff too, but I'll try to walk through what I've learned so far. So there we go. Now I've got my reference pose for Spacedad here. A lower opacity on him, and now I can start doing like some rough animation stuff. This right here. So I take my red pencil, and I actually don't want to do the whole body right now, so I'll just do like the upper body. zoom that out. I'm on this layer. I'm just going to do a quick pass right here where I'm just going to get like the kind of like this the general structure of him, so that I kind of have a point of reference if I'm going to change his head turn or something like that. Get quick in here. There we go. So don't really care about the goggles. That's a detail that can be added in later. But got the general overall kind of placement of stuff, and I can worry about the details later. So now that I got this, I want to start animating. So when you want to create new frames, you want to create new animation cells. So click that. Now you get a new animation cell. If you go back and forth in timeline, you'll see you run this view on a new cell. So I would recommend going into. Well, we'll go into the shortcuts in a bit, but in order to see like let's see I have his Spacedad turn his head and move his body over to the right a bit here. In the next frame, something like this. It's gun like this more, something. Pointing towards the camera. Like a kind of super rough pass on the frame. Let's get the basic idea in as quickly as possible. So let's say you wanted to see like how those frames compare with each other. You want to turn on onion skinning right here. So you go to enable onion skin there. I have it set up so I can toggle that on and off. I can see like the previous or preceding frame. And in addition to that, if you want to change like how many frames are visible in the previous and next frame and stuff, or what color they are and stuff, you want to go in onion skin settings. That's a little annoying to get into, so I'm going to show you real quick some shortcuts to help you with like a lot of this stuff. So one of the things you want to do is you want to go into shortcut settings down here from File. You go down to the animation section here. I set new animation cell to P, so I can hit P to create new animation cells. This is my shortcuts. Feel free to set them up how you want. There's a bunch of other stuff that I'm probably gonna use because some of these are going to be helpful in the future with streamlining the workflow. Let's see. I've got play and stop as like the slash key over that's above my enter key. So that makes it easier for me to play the thing. Go to previous frame and go to next frame is period and is like a comma and period. Because like on most of my animation software, like those two keys I use to scrub through the frames, and I'm used to that. And I'm also left-handed when I draw, so I use my right hand over those keys to go back and forth. Enable onion skin I have set to the enable onion skin I have actually set to the key that's to the right of the semicolon. It appears as that for some reason, but that's strange. But yeah, like in onion skin settings I have set to the semicolon key. Enable onion skin, I can toggle that on. In the future I'm going to be like setting up more hotkeys and stuff to kind of learn things. I'm still kind of like learning my way in and out, and like I'm going to be using this tonight to get more mileage in using Clip Studio. But I hope that helps people get a little bit started. Remember, you have to create new frame layers and stuff in order to like do new. If you want to do new drawing stuff or whatever. But in any case, I'm gonna shrink this. No, I'm gonna get rid of this because the reference I need right now is I need reference of Astropod. I'm gonna grab. Let's see here. There she is, or he is. Astropug's gender is a little ambiguous. So let's see here. Get rid of that and create a new animation. And animation cell. Can I draw on the cell? Yeah, I can. Cool. So that's how you create a new cell. That's nice. And I'm gonna import my reference right there. Let's see. Find a good, and now I'm going to bring this over here. Bring up my video reference here. So what I want you guys doing right now is grab and download some reference. You can do playback frame by frame, something like this. I'm going to be using this shot mainly because like Maxi has already done this shot, so it might give me some ideas too. And I can ask him for feedback and stuff, and maybe riff on some of what he did a little bit. But let's see here. I'm gonna pick the strongest pose to start with, I think maybe. Let's see here. There's gotta be. So let's see here. VLC media. Go frame by frame in VLC. Okay, key E. Okay, cool. Go into hotkeys for that. All right, so if you're using VLC Media Player, here's a quick thing on how to set up the hotkey in VLC Media Player for doing the frame by frame. So let's see. References. There's hotkeys. Frame. Next frame is hotkey E. Okay. It is already bound, so why is it not working? Oh, it is. Seem to be doing it very much. Try the playback speed slower. 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 That at least helps a little bit with the playback. A little bit. I maybe want to find a better tool than this to, let's see, video. Order. Yeah, VLC seems less than ideal for scrubbing through for frames. I'll try to make it work. May just have to use it straight from Twitter. let's see, we got this kind of pose here, so I'm gonna kind of riff on it without like specifically copying it. Let's take Astropug here. I'm gonna get like a good, like strong sense of the keyframe that I'm gonna be using. First off, I'm going to decide where Astropug is staged in the shot. Astropug is going to be staged about here. They got a big head. They're going to be pretty close into the frame, so probably going to be something like this. I'm going to start with this kind of line of action here. So like the length of the arm holding the sword. Astropug has a little itty bitty arm, so the hand is probably going to be about here. Your shoulder is probably going to be somewhere around here. I'm going to be worried about like the clothing details, like that kind of thing, for example. What I'm going to be like worried about for this is like Astropug's overall kind of body shape like this. Really, really simple sort of thing like that. Like a little potato person. And the goal when you're doing a breakdown of live actions, you're trying to design something from it. Like I've got a character here that I'm like riffing on, trying to design like some kind of something that kind of fits the character and might go beyond what I'm seeing in the live action of it. In this case, I at least want to get something that's kind of a starting point for me. So, let's see. I like how Maxi kind of staged the character more towards the center frame. I'm probably going to move Astro a little bit more closer there. Also, a quick and dirty way that I found to kind of like, if you want to iterate on frames, instead of creating new layers, you just like create a new cell. Then you can use the onion skin to kind of work out some things in it. I'm kind of playing with it a bit, maybe bringing Astropug's paw more into the frame here. But they're kind of reaching towards us, forced perspective. I think what would be a funny pose for Astropug to take that might show off their petiteness in contrast with the violence that they're going to be committing. And also, like, maybe show off a little bit more of the bone sword that they have. So the pose that I'm looking at, it looks like their leg is going away from, their lower thigh is going away from us. And the thigh on the screen left here is more like coming towards us a bit. Astropug has very stubby legs. Maybe modifying the staging area a bit so I can get more of the legs in there might be a good idea. Also, I just noticed that like the line of action body is quite what I want. Something more along these lines, like. That's looking a little more interesting to me. More promising. Astropug being a badass. So try this. Try something like that here. So head more down, paw more kind of right there, head way down, like Astropug is like being really badass. Sword more like kind of parallel instead of straight back. So I can see more of the bone thing here. That also gives me a little bit of room to like kind of curl the hair over there later. Might have them scoot over a bit so I can show the whole the sword full frame. But then I have to like kind of do this with the body a bit, down to the leg. It's funnier if the legs are really stubby. I have to make it look like they're actually leaning on their paw, but mind you, we're not expecting to do fully clean up finished animation. We're trying to get something that kind of gets like the impression of the motion across. Yep, so I'm going to take these keyframes I'm going to use right now and put them over there for now. It's early passes in the keyframe, so I have this now that I can iterate on, play with a bit. So I'm going to keep this one as it is for now. I'm going to go back in and start playing with the rest of the animation, with the rest of the sequence. So, maybe I can like work my way backwards a little bit to like I think like this moment or something like that when she's like anticipating slashing would be a good spot. I turn off onion skin. Oh, I don't need it. But onion skinning 0. I just see this. Maybe want to change. Okay. So let's see. That should be more like they're anticipating doing like a big old slash that winds up like that. I kind of want to keep that in mind. So would be kind of more of this way a bit. There, I can maybe like use like the ears as kind of like a marker for the turn of the head a little bit too. Little triangles of the ears. Try to keep that on screen here. You can try to design some keyframes along with me. Astropug is gonna probably be like something like around here. The overall body is gonna be leaning that. Now I can create a keyframe here. I can apply onion skinning again. Let's see. Alright, so our next one I want to try is the actual slash action that Astropug takes. So something like a really wide arc. Because the next frame they go into, they're settling. Modify that too in relation to this. So it's kind of a swing motion like this. That shifts the body weight that way. That's what causes the repositioning of the legs. Redesign the frames a little bit to make Astropug's paw place over there. That creates a little bit better of a silhouette for the action, I would say. Like, the important part is at the thrust of Astropug's chest in relation to the last frame. I can push this a little more, anticipation here. Maybe I should reposition this slightly. Let's try one more frame after this. Take that over there a little bit more. Take that over there, maybe. what I'm trying to I'm looking for now is like I'm trying to get a nice smooth arc with this. It's gonna take me a few scrubs to kind of feel that out a bit though. Making Astrobug really small on this one. This frame, they're really scrunched down would definitely help. What I'm doing now is I'm using a different colored pencil to kind of like basically like do the equivalent of creating a new layer on something, refine it a bit. Yeah, so if you like, you can like kind of you can kind of like pretend the red lines don't exist, and you just look at the black here. And now I get like a clearer picture of where I'm going with the second pass on this bit. We got a little bit of background audio there from the Discord chat. This is starting to look like something. I'm going to create a new animation folder, new animation cell. I will lower opacity on this. Now I'm going to try creating some new frames for this action. So we got master plug here. They're really hunched down. want to refine what I got a little bit. So first, take a peek at what Maxie's did with his. So, one thing I want to do is I want to emphasize that down leg. But to say that they are planting their leg like slightly, they're planting their knee slightly off frame down below. And I can use some of what Maxie did as foundation for like a little kind of itty bitty version with Astropug's stubby legs, like this. Astropug makes a big slash right here. Twisting their whole body. Yeah, push it over this way a bit more. That's already feeling better to me. Have them actually reach down in this frame right here to balance themselves. Sort of a bit off, but this back here. How are you guys all doing? Not a huge amount of participation in the class tonight on Twitch, sadly. Well, it looks like I've only got 13 viewers tonight on Twitch. Oof. That's rough. Well, if you're you should be paying attention to this for animation too, because this will teach you how to break down extreme poses for comic book and manga art too. Like adapting poses from reference is an essential tool for both animators and comic artists. We had someone in Alpha in chat say that they're not interested in animation, only comic book and manga arts. I'd say it's good to learn it. If you are a comic artist, it's good to learn animation, the principles of animation too, and how to utilize things in motion, so you can convey a sense of motion on something that's not moving. One of the terms that the word manga means is motionless picture entertainment. That's how the Japanese approached it. It was supposed to be movies on a page, kind of. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into the drawing groove too. But lately, well, I've been trying to get back in the drawing groove for like the last year, but which is kind of wild. 2019 was not a good year for me health-wise. It's kind of taken me all this time to really refresh back in. What's also helping is I can look at the thumbnail up in the corner there and kind of see the impression that the animation makes. It's hinting at stuff for me that I need to do to kind of end it and modify it. The thing about animation is once you start settling into rhythm for it, like you can start kind of, like you start seeing in terms of motion. Like I'm turning on and off the onion skin here to kind of rub back and forth between frames and sort of see how stuff sort of reads to me, moves between the frames. I think this one is a little weak here. I could probably repeg it slightly to kind of adjust it a bit. Maybe tilt it. really smear this. Maybe add one more frame here. These frames, pull them out, just one, so I get more space. Create a new frame.
Alright, cool. Sunday work day.
Hello.
And I got Monday work day.
Maybe I can scoop this over here. That might be compression. I'll scoop this one here. Yeah, notice that little bounce at the end there, like. Use that to kind of settle settle the animation. This is gonna be a very like cartoony interpretation versus like the more anime interpretation that Maxie did. On this smear frame right here, I'm thinking like I'd have something like Astro Pug's pug mouth do like a follow through that smacks back up into their face there. Like they are pugs, so like they kind of have like that loose skin of the pug muzzle, so that squishes and changes a lot when they move their face around. I think I have enough here that I'm going to lower the opacity really low on it, so it's just kind of ghosted slightly in the background. This is going to get lowered really low. This I'm going to create a new panel. That's just a new folder. Another folder in the timeline. Okay, never mind that then. Do this. Because alright, so animation folder. I'll raise the opacity on this so I can see this one. So maybe use dark red. Stands out a little more. Okay. Not like a color that's going to stand out from the other stuff I'm drawing. Well, one thing I can do is I can change the color of the previous keyframe to red. That's better for me. I can use blue without getting visually confused when I turn on the screen. I'm gonna do something a little closer to AstroFox model now. But trying to keep it really simple, but I want to tie it down a little bit more. Okay. Someone making noises back there. I'm gonna have to mute who's ever making the noises. Anna KT, I'm gonna have to mute you. Thank you. Maybe I should turn off. I'm gonna get really visually confused if I have that on. So now that I've kind of like played with the motion a bit, I can start kind of sort of trying to get something more closely resembling character model a bit. Pommel of the sword. Not the pommel, the guard or whatever it's called. Here's where things get a little goofy. Also play with the hair a bit when I add the hair detail to it. But the hair is kind of a secondary action, so I'm going to do that like in a separate pass. As long as I like keep enough space to kind of work it into the animation. Would be good. The hair is going to be influenced by like the main drive of the body. So if the body animation is working, then I'll be able to do the hair. If that drive, how it flows and settles and stuff. The sword. Let's see what's going on here. That's looking off to me. Okay, so that's looking okay. Maybe that should be down a little bit more. Take that stuff down. Just because Astrofug is growing too much. So I've pegged it down there, but and then adjust their body volumes a bit. This area here seems a little empty. I'm gonna do frame by frame. I was reading stronger about the last pass. Not quite getting it. That bounce has to be very quick. So let's try putting this at the frame rate we probably could go at. Be adding 2 frames to every one of these. So it's going to be on 3s. Where's the end? There it is, all the way out there, Jesus. Here's what it looks like on time. The bounce should be maybe at 1 frame, 2 frames. That should be longer. That needs to be very quick. Oh, what happened there? Gonna make that 1 frame. I know what I can do here. Twist the body like that. We're looking a little bit robotic here. I like to see the string. That. The way to auto reframe the 2 seconds and clip the clip, I can do it in momentaries. Yeah, I know. I'm still learning the interface of clip for so it's starting to look a little better. Not as much of a power to the swing as I would want, but maybe that can be settled by giving more time to the anticipation. Maybe a little more back here. I have my own way of playing this stuff. Actually going to be using this tomorrow. Animation class, because I'll be going over this with Maxi. He'll be giving me some input on stuff. And I'll get some feedback from him. Anyone else? Class that is... Might see some things I could try to push, but... This is a pretty good start so far. What time is it? It is 7:07. How are you guys all doing here? I've been kind of silent because I'm kind of concentrated on the animation here. But how do you like this? Like, I was kind of hoping that we'd get like more live action, like pausing the poses and stuff, but I'm not as really set up for that right now. So I'm mostly having people like do their own thing right now while I draw along. Like, you should be yoinking your own live action footage right now to basically do what I'm kind of doing right now. But approach like breaking down the live action key poses, and breaking down the idea that interpreting it to animation. Kind of doing it in my own little. I'm kind of doing my version of like the same kind of action of this last swipe here, in my own kind of like toony way. I know one thing I can do. I can angle the blade differently, so it's more like it's ready to cut that way. I know what I can do here. So I can bring Astropuck's body forward before they actually make the swing. Scream. Yeah, there's definitely more power by doing this. It doesn't have quite the impact that I would want. Maybe I can put that screen back there once. Like this. That kind of can create a strong impression of that blade. Has to really be sold here, like just a massive flip slash across the screen, I think.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, I was just gonna ask a question real quick.
Sure.
So I'm an art student, getting close to finishing up, and I was just gonna ask, what are some of the more important skills to work on and then display in a portfolio that you're submitting to an animation studio?
really good animation. Uh, Having some supplemental life drawing stuff is good too. But really good animation. And then like, it's if you're just submitting for animation, you want good animation grid. That's the first thing that matters. The portfolio is to show that like you have drawing skills and understand draftsmanship and stuff. And if you have having supplemental stuff of your scene breakdowns is good. And you also want to show that you have a pretty good sense of like being able to adapt to character designs and stuff. Adapt to character models of different varieties. If you're submitting for a particular studio where you happen to have an art style that fits a lot of the animation they tend to do, that stuff. The stuff that kind of fits that the most. This is kind of working a little better, I would say. So like a lot of rough animation is kind of like jazz or like trying to write a song, where you can have a good plan of stuff a lot of times, but a lot of times you just have to like play with it until you get something that kind of works. That's what's going on here. Yeah. And I mean, like it's like you gotta kind of improvise stuff, and also because like I'm coming into this sort of like rough and loose from being kind of rusty on animation, so I'm kind of happy to BS my way through a lot of this stuff. But this is good for a first. This is really solid for a first pass on this action. I think there's more tweaking I can do with it later. Let's take a short break, but we're gonna kind of go with this next. So there's a few problems I can see I'm going to run into. A few shortcomings I had to make in order to concentrate on certain areas of the action. Like the business of what the legs are doing is a little vague right now. I'm going to have to go back through and maybe like define what exactly the legs are up to. I see that Raboot's posted an attempt at an action here. Let's take a look here. So Raboots has posted a really fast action. Raboots, I would try. I think you're off to a good start, and you even had like an overshoot at the end here, which is nice. I would try playing with the. I would try playing with the timing to see what happens if you instead of make the action so swift like this, you maybe like try doubling the frame count, or slowing the speed by half. So you can see what happens if you favor certain frames over others. So Maxi right here, he's a guy who is really adept at limited animation. I have to think kind of like. I was trained by Disney animators, so I think more like a Disney animator when I'm approaching this stuff. So, hence, like my stuff is not really adapted to the limited full style. Thinking like more in terms of like physicality and stuff like, and like and smoothing stuff out and so on. Like I could probably like take out some frames from this and make it a plausible limited full animation piece. But like this is kind of like in the vein of like how you could start like a piece of Disney animation or something, of Disney-esque, Warner Brothers-esque animation. Start really rough and crude and stuff, and usually with a really light touch. Then you go back in and you start tying down the animation and stuff. The idea is you're trying to create an impression of the movement that feels like something that has actual like physicality to it. Feels pretty good because you can kind of what you do from there when you tie down. You are basically like taking these kind of rough loose drawings you've done and you riff on them to get them a little bit more on the volumes of the character and the posing. Like I'd have to work out stuff like what Astropug's legs are doing a little bit more, and the body. Like let me show you an example of what I mean. This is an extreme right here. I'm gonna lower the opacity on this and maybe do a tie down demonstration on this. New animation folder, new animation cell, or so I've got my reference back there, so I'll just keep that back there. But it can be a little bit more pressure. Like you want to like partition your labor. Like when you're going to be rough and loose and working out the motion, you want to be concentrating on roughing out the motion. You're not going to concentrate on being precise and precious with your drawings and unnecessarily like completely on model. You want to keep like the volumes in the ballpark so the character isn't like growing or changing size early, but you can use the tie down phase to kind of get yourself back into something that like more closely resembles the character model. I'm going to use that right now. This is an extreme. Astropug's features are warped because they are smearing. They're doing an animation smear. And if you want to see what animation smears look like, do a Google image search for animation smear. And it's kind of self-explanatory. It's those motion frames that are like, they look really like goofy, where stuff is distorted to create like a stronger sense of motion. Like the stuff that you do is supposed to look really rough and loose and crude when you first do it, because you're concentrating on the motion. You don't have time to be precious with your drawings. You're trying to get something that feels like it has the rhythm to it that you're looking for. And since this slash is like working close enough, I've got enough to work with. I'm just gonna go ahead. I could rework this more. I could rework this more to kind of work out more stuff, but sometimes you got to make a judgment call and move forward with an animation that is suboptimal, especially if you're working in the TV industry. It also can kind of help you go to the next phase sometimes if you're unsure what can go wrong if you go too quickly into things. It kind of helps to see, like, oh, there's a mistake that I made early on that if I'd been more cognizant of this or that, prevented it or something. I can already tell for like Astropug's collar, for example, I'm going to have to compress it against the body, except like on the side here, for example. The hair is going to be like its own thing. Get done with this, like it's going to be generally like kind of following the flow of the body, and so on. But it's going to be animated on its own. This is still pretty rough. This isn't like quite a tie down, but this is like another like phase of me trying to work out the character model, basically. I'm gonna go through and do that on some other frames. It's created a blank frame so I can. That's a good one here. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of guesstimate where Astropug's hair would be here. Like something like this. I include the hair in some of the frames just so like I don't have to like move like the ears around or things later to make the hair more apparent. Keep the silhouette working. Oh, I put it on blank. I'm gonna take a look at Raboots' animation thing. Take a look at them. Here's what you have, yeah. You can see you're kind of like mostly following the I think you're following one of the live action references and stuff. I'll try playing with the timing a bit and seeing what changes about when you do. Yeah, that's looking a little bit more interesting. I'd say that like you can I'd say like decide what parts of this are going to be moving fast and decide what parts of these are going to be moving slow. Like the anticipation can be like a slower acceleration, but then the actual like slash part can be fast, really fast, and then like this can be slow. So try playing with varying the timing. The way I'm drawing her right now is, I mean, this can work as rough animation, but this is more like kind of how you might draw a character during an animatic, where you're treating the animatic almost like a storyboard. Like Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles does that a lot. The characters aren't necessarily completely on model, per se, or completely on model compared to how they are in the actual show. You have a little bit more freedom to play if you are keeping that kind of thing in mind. I'm hoping to be able to like adapt this into something that's an on-model animation, but I want to like kind of free myself up a bit to play with the character because like this is a new character design I made, and there's not really any set rules for them just yet, and I'm not for set rules for what's on model and what's not off-model animation. I'm going to give myself a little bit of freedom to kind of play with it freely. Then maybe get some feedback from some other animator professionals, colleagues. That one of them was somebody who worked on glitch text. I've seen that Netflix series. Looking forward to getting some feedback from them and a few other really cool people. The hair will have to be separate later, but I'm gonna kind of like rough in a little bit of it. Just enough to not throw me off, but just enough to like kind of guesstimate about where it's gonna be. So I can have at least an impression of it. The way I'm starting to feel things out now is like Astropunk has their foot and their knee planted on the ground up like the foreground here. They kind of shift their weight there to sort of pull off this action. The hip should be more over there. Game that Twitter doesn't let you play. It does. Maybe I can do this. Here, do that, and then... Okay, let's need that. Let's see that here. And then... There we go. How's that? So how many of you have been playing Cyberpunk? Out of curiosity. Forcing yourself not to buy it. That's a good idea. I mean, if it's gonna like detract from other things you're doing. It's a cool game. Not gonna lie, it did kind of interrupt the flow that I had throughout this last week. I was getting so in the groove on like gung ho on classes and stuff, and then like Cyberpunk drops, like oh shit. But it's okay. I'm redisciplining myself to get back into this stuff. I did some 2 pages of hand drawings to make up for the day of hand drawing I missed for the homework this week. I'm planning on playing more after class. Like if people want to do a stream after party hanging out in my Discord, I'm going to be playing some Cyberpunk there. And yeah, it's good. It's good, and it actually runs surprisingly well on like last gen or second to last gen hardware. Like, if you have a GTX 1660, you will have a very pleasant gameplay experience at medium settings, and the game looks great even at medium settings. So even if it's just running at 60 FPS, that's steady 60 FPS is fantastic. 50 to 60-ish FPS is fantastic for a single-player game. So you will have a pleasant experience if you have older hardware. If you have newer hardware, it'll be much smoother and prettier. But the game, not that much different other than visually versus like a 60 FPS medium settings. 2070 Super, yeah, you should be able to get a pretty good performance out of it. You'll probably be pushing into the 80s in FPS or something. It's hard for me to say. Make sure you play with DLSS on, by the way, because that severely impacts frame performance if you are playing with RTX on. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but if you want a good ending in the game, like if you want like the good or the best ending in the game, make sure you do lots of side missions and that you're really nice to Johnny Silverhand. But I already peeked ahead. I already peeked ahead at like the strategies for getting some of the endings of the game. First time I was already just by my playstyle, I was already on a good path for that. Planning on playing the game in multiple runs, though. So I'm playing Corpo right now. I'll play like a Nomad next. you're gonna see me working on this shot because this is like I want to finish. This is like one of my New Year's resolutions is to finish the animations and the drawings that I make. Finish more of the animations and drawings that I make. I'm gonna work through and finish this. The feedback I receive on it, on my pals, colleagues, and anyone who thinks they might see something that I could probably push or try. Even if you're not that experienced. Sometimes the instinct of a beginner or somebody who just notices something can be helpful. Like don't feel that because he lacks experience that you can't give feedback. Just don't be a snob about it, you know? Like temper with what you're saying, but like, oh, I'm not that experienced because I'm so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but this is what I'm seeing XYZ here. Maybe you could try pushing that. And the point is that I want to encourage people to give each other feedback because the act of critiquing other people's animation makes you become a better animator. Because it makes you more critical of your own work. It also helps people on the team, and it exercises your analytical mind for like trying to push things and solve problems in your own animations. Too. Someone's getting a Discord call. Can you mute yourself, please? I have to mute you. Remember, tomorrow at 2:30 is the animation class. We're going to be going over more of this, what I've just done. We're going to be critiquing people's animations, including mine. I'll be on the. I'll have my head on the chopping block for the less than ideal amount of time I've spent this week on my animations. That's okay. Sometimes you don't have enough time to do everything you want to do. But there was a lot that I accomplished this week. Like trying to make good on my resolution to like finish more of my drawings. I did four drawings that I attempted to finish this week. One of them you see in the background there with the character design for Astropug as like a SV. It's in Cyberpunk. Yes, we do over Twitch. We are meeting tomorrow at 2:30. I do think that's awesome. If you can show up for it, that's cool. If you can't show up for it, the class should be uploaded to YouTube later, or available in the video replay. I do like how I do like the floppiness of this. So let's take a look at this. See? So unlike the more confident sword swing, I wanted to get something that like emphasized Astropug's kind of comedic wobbliness a bit. Like they're still making a lethal sword swing, but they're kind of like top heavy. Because like a little pug wielding this giant ass sword. So I want something more floppy than like the sharp look of like the Maxie's thing, because I'm just going with my instincts and my training as an animator. But I want to learn from Maxie too. I want to learn more about his limited animation approach. But I'm gonna like put my best foot forward with what I know, what I've been trained in first. And I want to get input from him, and maybe I can cross-pollinate some ideas from him. I'm going to be very interested in seeing what he has to say. Get the tongue. There's like that's actually her cheek. I think I can emphasize like the open mouth a bit, like that. I probably can like emphasize the tongue and stuff too if I want. Like that's pug skin flaps right there. I wonder if, like, emphasizing this frame emphasizing some of these frames more might help a bit. Clean that out a bit. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Seeing something interesting happening here. See what happens. Modify the timing of that further. I'm gonna go full screen so I can modify the timing of this here. But let's see. Maybe put this on B. Put this one on 2. This one on 3. One on 3. Just playing with the timing to see what happens here. Slowing it down. Because I have like more defined poses now and you can see it better, there's a stronger sense of strength to what Astropod is doing here. So there's more I can do to play with this and probably contrast it to push that idea. It's more defined, but I'm getting like a stronger sense of like brutal effort being put into Astropod swinging that sword. Maybe stretching that frame out there is fine, but then like I can maybe make the make one of the anticipations a little slow, a little quicker. But maybe putting this on 2. Let's see. Kind of like that. What do you guys think of this? Let me turn off the reference layer real quick. Let's see, clear. Yeah, it looks like Astropod is having a harder time wielding that thing. It looks like it's much heavier. Like they're wielding that katana almost like a Dark Souls weapon. But what the timing is. There's a few other things that I should probably modify. Let's see if So I got the arm up there. The arm kind of shoots down here. I need to pay close attention to what the arm is doing for this stuff. Shoulder is kind of moving over this way, but the palm should be staying anchored somewhere down there. Even though the upper body is kind of drifting. But then like it kind of changes position when I do this. So I gotta watch that. So maybe
I think you need to anchor his feet a little bit more. They're kind of sliding
yeah, they
everywhere.
They are. It's gonna work. They bend the arm, elbow. Here. Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't really be letting the elbow drive the body, but let's see here. For them shooting the arm down is fine. Maybe just not place it in that. Maybe they just not anchor that in that spot. Like, this should be pushed over a bit. Yeah, but I have to fix that actually. I mean, overall, the big stuff is reading well. Now I gotta solve like those other issues. So the bend of the arm stuff is working good. Like this part right here. Let's see, maybe something like this. And really emphasize that bend. Not that much. Foreshorten it a bit. This. Because most pugs most of the time have their weirder than normal tongue out. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen pugs. They're very slobbery dogs. Not like super slobbery, but they can be. do you think, chat? Looking like a pretty good start, I'd say. What time is it? It is nearly 8 o'clock. Keep going on this for another 30 minutes. Have you guys been enjoying this? Actually, I'm going to take a look at some classroom chat if anyone's got anything more to post. You played with the timing more. Ooh, what did you do with this? This feels stronger to me now. What did you do to it? Adjusted the passing frames to 1, everything else on 2s, yes. The only thing else I would say is that he looks a little imbalanced. The character looks a little imbalanced. I would draw a, kind of what you have the head sphere, make a sphere also for the butt. And so that shape that you used for the head sphere, you want to use like shapes kind of like that for the rest of the body, and maybe in the limbs to give them volume and stuff. Like now that you kind of have like a general idea. Also, another thing I would say, make an anticipation here. I notice here like, oh, that's a little pop. So for your first frame, instead of this, you want the sword up there where you're going to be. So maybe like make more of an anticipation frame, like before they start slashing, like have them winding up to get ready to slash and stuff. I'll show you what I did on Astropod. And this is an anticipation right here. I mean, it's part of the action, but it's like they're kind of like going down and like scrunching down and like anticipating like dragging the blade behind them, basically. Or maybe kind of rough out a bad guy here. Bad guy body, just they have something that they're slashing. Like super crude, mind you. This might detract from the overall animation, though, so I may want to get rid of that. Yeah, I think I definitely want to get rid of that for now. I'll just have to undo back to it. Fine, it's fine. But if I do that, I'm going to do that in a separate layer. Fix to this. At least get rid of this stuff. It's got junk I don't need right now. But at least I have a visual idea now in my head of how I'm probably going to stage it for the guy getting slashed there. I'll just leave like a little blank thing there. Maybe like... Probably do something like they're pulling their gun up a little bit. Astrobug slashes them and causes their body to launch. I might like restage this a little bit so that I can have more room for the for like the guard's expression. Like I'm gonna make a little note here. Guard or bad guy or whatever. Make gun off frame, something like that. I could probably do something fine, like have their legs standing there next to Astropug, and then like the blood spurts out or some shit. Instead of them getting knocked off frame. If they come over here, and then like, we wait a beat, and then there's like this bisected leg standing there, or something. And the legs like fall over. I was thinking maybe like that kind of like wave pattern sort of thing you sometimes see like in more comedic stuff where there's a blood spurt. I'm just gonna make a little storyboard note for that idea here. Let's separate that into another layer. That there. Then maybe I can do a cut to like something like wide shot of Astropug. Cut or zoom back. Wide shot of Astropug holding the sword. Looking up. This pair of bisected torso or legs or something that's like there's some kind of fun like spurt of blood coming out here from the legs, and maybe I can have the legs sort of wandering around back and forth across the frame before they finally collapse or something. Like something like that. That'd be fun. I want to make a sequence out of this. I'm just gonna make some storyboarding notes, basically. These can be outside over here. I'll use them later. So you can like, if you make notes like that, you don't want to and you don't want to distract from the timeline. You can like, you can even put them on separate layers, where you can like put them outside the timeline of where you're animating, and then just like want to see them again, you just timeline and check them out later. Or you can create a separate file for your storyboards. Also that. So upload them if you got them. You got more stuff to show. I'm curious. Who else is working on stuff? Behind this, my first keyframe image. Yeah, I would say, it push stuff more for sure. Let me see if I can suggest some things. Let's see, you got this kind of penguin character. I gotta do with a gun here. Not really seeing the push pose here. There's a lot of stuff going on with this. So your first mistake was you should have maybe done a draw-over test of this thing. You're not quite confident with understanding. There's like a forced perspective thing going on here. You want to keep in mind. It's going across the whole of this guy's body and driving this pose, the gun. I'm trying to like go over and push his pose a little bit more. Kinda. Got that, and now using this and playing with your character design a bit, I'm gonna go over it and kind of use some of the same rhythms I made on that initial pose. So. You want to foreshorten that wing. You want to keep those kind of false perspective rhythms in mind. You can really exaggerate that wing and like play it up as a cartoon character. So if we can push it if we want. Really emphasize the barrel of that gun. So if you want to, let's see, you could keep like something closer to the angle that guy has his head tilted at, but I'll get something like a little bit more in the direction of like the directional facing that you had original pose a bit. It has kind of like this feeling of like a tilt of the hips a little bit, of like this curve of the body here, so the penguin looks a little bit more dynamic. Remember, you're looking for rhythms that are going to make pose read stronger. And for fun, we can, in contrast the smaller limb here, we can show more of the penguin's other limb here. That's not as big as that. And I'm going to use onion skinning as a means of pushing the pose some more. Let's produce opacity in your pose. Really beef up that hand here. Really emphasize the gun barrel. So we see the front of his body here. The front of his body is turned that way, but his head is turned this way. But you see, we take this, Put a new frame, turn up on just kidding. A new frame. I'll have to figure out how to like copy paste stuff into other layers. That is a kind of an issue. But let's see. Let's try if I can duplicate a frame. Copy, paste. That works. I can copy paste the actual frame itself. Good. That's what I wanted. So now they got this. I can beef this up in size. You rotate it a bit. Got some action lines around the borders here. Emphasize tension on the penguin and the dynamics of the scene. Oops. Center point somewhere around on the penguin's head, I would say. It means if like there was a horizon line, it would be doing something like this right here. The eye level is roughly about at the penguin's ish. See more of the legs down there. The shoulders are tilted away from upwards and away from us. But I could probably change that a bit. Then you can push the contrast of like a large foreground limb, the background limb that's really far back. Animation and drawing is all, and good cartoon drawing is all about contrasting. Whether it's straight against curve, whether it's pointy versus smooth, whether it's big versus small. You want to emphasize contrasting things. There you go. There's basically a kind of a rough push pose reference from a live action pose. I'll upload that to the Discord chat for you. And you can feel free to use that if you like. And just for fun, let's maybe, I don't know how good I'd be at drawing a gun, but I'm going to try doing maybe some, I don't know if I have time for like a full like cleanup demo, but I'm going to like to at least take this to like the next phase that I would take it to. Like the gun is tricky. I may have to like horribly cheat it. Because I'm really bad at drawing guns. Something I want to actually address in the near future. I'm going to be deliberately drawing a lot of characters that are holding guns in the coming weeks, which will force me to do more research into guns. But you notice, like I have that kind of. There's kind of like a 2-point perspective thing going on, a fake 2-point perspective thing going on here too. The other vanishing point is roughly, I want to say, somewhere over here. If there's a like horizon line there. You'll definitely need another pass on this to get it a little cleaner, because there's some other things I need to work out. this drawing over it. While I'm at it, I'll maybe try to work out like a rough, sort of crude, plausible cartoon gun here. So this part of the gun is probably below this. Yeah, I'm pretty bad at guns. Yeah. We'll just get like the overall just impression of. That's all we need for now on this. Thing's probably more like a story pose than an actual animation pose, I would say, though. First pass on the idea of a pose that you would probably want to break down more when you actually get into animation. Make this pinky kind of raised a bit. That base of the gun, maybe push this forward a bit. Gives me more of the kind of the trigger. Your expression there just for the heck of it. Maybe because his chin is below the horizon, then let's maybe just like we're looking at the top of his shoulders a little bit more. If that's the case, this should maybe be up here. In fact, you could probably do this. Really push that back there. Really tiny. The vanishing point for the other side is somewhere over here, so I'm gonna go some crude. It's here. I can push that even more, but I'm really far back into space there. Anyway, these are just some more suggestions, so feel free to do with them as you see fit. Let's see what Rabbit's got. Now that I'm seeing the thumbnail, maybe I probably would keep the arm about the same. Yeah, there's a little bit of anticipation there. I think you can emphasize it more, and I think one way to do that would be push the hips to the left on like make a new frame where you push the hips to the left, tilt the upper body to the right, and push the arm back there. Let's see here. I can see like here. Let's see. Look at this. Out of that. I think I can copy this. Let's see here. Can I actually select the app? Oh, not responding. Oh, fuck. Just copy. Let's try over here. Paste. This guy in here. What you can do with this guy. Do that. Oh no, I gotta make a new animation there, and maybe turn this off. That off. Where can I turn the other one off? Okay. Then new animation folder. So. Alright, so we got this guy. What we want is lower opacity down real quick. What I'm suggesting you do is, and this is something that like you kind of need to get more like figure design experience in order to kind of figure out how to do better. And you do something along these lines of like, so that hip, that hip gets shifted that way, and that causes the upper body to go down that way a little bit. This goes down a little bit ways. Enough. Better. And just for like, just so we have a point of reference on this, I'm going to do a quick trace back on your original drawing. Kind of using my instinct too of what would feel good for the body to do. This is kind of like the general idea. You create an anticipation frame. Create an anticipation frame of the body shifting weight. really getting ready to swing that blade. And when he actually does swing the blade, you lead with the hips a bit. So the hips kind of dip down a bit. Kind of improvising right now. You're going way outside the scope of what you had there, just for fun. It's been like bonus practice time for me. This is outside the scope of what I'm suggesting right now. I'm just playing. Yeah, that's cool. So, I'm going to try timing out this super rough bit that I made here. So one of the inherent drawbacks of what I did with the astrophobe thing is I went too early before I'd done like more kind of loosened up quick studies like this. That's fine, because I'm coming back and being rusty after not animating too much this week. But like something really crude and simple like this is the kind of stuff I should be doing to really kind of get in tune. Let's see here. I'll put this at about not so many frames. And the rest of these go on 2s for now, just like so I can work out the timing. 2. 2. I'm sure there's like tools that people have made. It's plugins to like shorten workflows in Clip Studio for animators. Like the production templates and other tools that I've seen. That seem like they'd be really handy to have. I'm like just like improvising and going into a defensive stance here. I'm kind of going to the zone right now. I'll check the chat. I see Rabbit's posted something else. In general, it should be a bit better for frame-by-frame timings and clip, but also can also... Oh. Yeah. There might be some, like I said, there might be some plugins that we can use. But I've seen animation productions companies use, but it being handy for shortcutting certain things that are really annoying to deal with otherwise. Using this as an opportunity to play. We're going overtime in the class right now, just so I can play with this a little bit more. I kind of want to do more straight up animation sessions like this live. I think maybe tighten up the time here. But keep that one up. Let's use the rest of these ones for an acceleration and deceleration effect. There we go. See, a lot of animation is trying to feel out what the rhythm is. I think it worked better if it was like this. Maybe add one more slight settle here. I really like that. It's a nice rhythm to it right now. See how there needs to be a little bit better of a sense of like the following a similar sort of rhythm. So like there's this, there's like this. It's about here, parallel. I think I'm definitely going to enjoy animating Clip Studio, though. So this scene that I made right here, Raboots, I'm going to give this to you. I'll upload it later. But I want you to actually use it. Like, it's rough, it's super crude and rough animation, but let's see if you can use it to animate with it. Okay? I improvised it stuff, but I want you to kind of like pay attention to like I'm very instinctive. Like I'm couple things. Like I'm out of practice. I'm trying to get better at certain things, but some things I do have a good instinct for presently are like the shift of the weight and the rhythm of the body, and the rhythm of animation. I'm a very instinctive animator like that, and that comes from the training I've had previously. Let's so let's maybe see if I can put one more frame here. There was a frame I was going to design here. Yeah, I hope you don't mind, Rabbits. I'm using you to kind of warm up to... I'm going to be doing, like, demos tomorrow. I should try to keep it on the same arc, actually. That. This should be the like big blur moment right here. The blade whipping across the page. That gives it big smear power. Probably use this with Asperplug, actually. I mean, I improvised this whole scene myself, so... I do worry about this part here. Maybe that part should be one. And maybe some of the parts after. And then these can be reuse. I think that final pose is good. I'm not going to shoot that anymore, but maybe increase this frame here. So, in between there. Actually, Reb, it's I mean, you can feel free to play with this if you can like decipher what I'm doing here. But honestly, like this is going to be really hard for you to kind of read, because there's like lots of stuff happening like that's like placeholder things like that. That's like the top of the shoulder here with the tilt of the shoulders going down and stuff for me. That I was reading to me, or like what I would. A lot of it is like stuff that I would address later. That's still pretty crude now. Like this approach to animating is like we're trying to create a rhythmical cloud pattern and then pick out stuff from the clouds that you think might be working. But this has been fun. After a week of a drought of me being a lazy animator, I'm starting to feel the rhythm of it again. Yeah, I think I would definitely use AstroPug for further tests on this character that I've done, because they're about the right proportions for me to do an AstroPug interpretation.